I'm continuing, I suppose, to think of new things to do on video. I still have this unfinished round the world trip. I am going to persist with that. You know, it's difficult again to know what to do on a video, even following that's different to what I've done before. You know, there's only so many times you can do an ILS approach, or fly to a VOR, or have an engine out due to icing, and I've done all that, I think. I mean, the last few videos, if you've watched those, I've been doing some contact flying, so actually looking at what's on the ground. That's allowed me to look at some of this Orbix scenery in more detail, and that's kind of interesting. I will continue to do that. Of course, I'm going to be mostly flying across the North American continent, the United States, for the next major part of that trip. And where we left off, I was just in the southern end of the Central Rocky Mountains scenery. Once we get out of that, depends which way I go. I might go down into Nevada, or I might go across to the, turn to the east right away and fly through more of the CRM. But beyond that, we're going to be into, or if we're going to Nevada, we're going to be into FTX Global. The difference between this and you'll remember, FTX Global, through the middle leg of this round the world trip, was pretty dire because of the land class. There's no land class product for Asia, so we were seeing the same, beautifully modelled tiles repeating over and over and over again very quickly. So we shouldn't get that across the United States, even on FTX Global. I've still got, tons of Orbix software, so we should see some more of that. Of course, there aren't any regions out towards the centre and the east coast of America, so it's all going to be FTX Global. And beyond the round the world trip, the same thing applies. It's difficult to know what to do, other than to start to do much more realistic things. And I've from time to time played around with learning some IFR procedures and fly some of the approaches and so on. I mean, I may continue to do that, but again, it's very slim if you don't have the radio. I did think about trying out VATSIM. I did try out Pilot Edge once, which you'll know if you watched my SciTech Radio Redemption video, and that was just, it was brilliant. I loved that, and I love the idea of Pilot Edge, and I may go back to that eventually. The problem is it's expensive, to subscribe to that. You really don't want to subscribe to that and then just tinker with it now and then. So I've yet to make a commitment to that, and there is a learning commitment, but that's part of the reason it's stimulating. It's it's just a different dimension to flying. You're not on your own. You're no longer unaccountable to anybody. That's the main thing. So that maybe is in the future. Of course, that's not really on the way to anywhere on my round the world trip. One of the things I'm going to think about at some point in the not too distant future is to decide whether I'm going to adopt another aircraft and set up the cockpit to fly that aircraft as well as, or instead of, the Twin Otter. It's very tempting to think about acquiring and setting up the cockpit for one of the A2A AccuSim aircraft, but I have to think that through. It would be nice to go with another twin. Ever since I started this, I have thought about putting some time into the BN2 Islander, and I could do that, but again, it's not a very sophisticated model, so I'm not really sure if that would be worth the trouble. So as I say, I've yet to decide or think up some interesting things that I can do to make some videos of that continuing trip. If anyone's got any ideas, happy to hear them.